Tasmania, how good does this feel? 2 games into our VFL journey and the Devils are officially on the march. A win in Hobart, a win in Launceston, 2 different cities, 1 united state and a football club that's already punching above its weight. Today we're breaking down the Devils' second win, a gritty, high-scoring, heart-rate-lifting victory over Port Melbourne. We'll talk about the players who stood up, the moments that mattered, the critics who've been chirping all week, and what Brendon Gale has had to say about the bigger picture. And then we'll look ahead to the next challenge, Frankston. Settle in, Devils fans. This is your full game review and next game preview. Let's rewind just a moment. Round 1 at North Hobart Oval wasn't just a football match, it was a statewide awakening. More than 10,000 Tasmanians jammed into a suburban ground with limited capacity, turning it into a cauldron. The Devils led all day, kicked the big goals when it mattered, and sent Coburg home with a 17-point reminder that Tasmania is back in the national system. Then came round 2, new ground, new crowd, new test, and the Devils delivered again. At UTS Stadium in Launceston, again with capacity restricted due to redevelopment, the Devils took on Port Melbourne, one of the VFL's traditional heavyweights. Final score, Tasmania 15-11-101, defend Port Melbourne 14.9-93. Let's talk about the stars. Jye Menzie, 4 goals, 6 tackles, 5 clearances, 13 disposals, and the match sealer when the game was on the line. That's leadership, that's composure, that's a player saying, "Give me the moment." Then there's Jed Hagan, again. After lighting up round 1, he delivered 2 clutch goals late in the game when Port Melbourne were threatening to steal it. He's not just playing well, he's becoming a go-to player in big moments. And here's the fascinating part. Just like round 1, the Devils lost some of the key stats. Port Melbourne had more disposals, more inside 50s, but Tasmania won where it matters, on the scoreboard. That tells you everything about this team's identity. Efficient going forward, disciplined behind the ball, unfazed by pressure, built on system, not stat padding. Coach Jerome Weberly summed it up perfectly. Phase 1 is done. Phase 2 is about staying present, staying connected, and biting down on the mouthguard for the bloke next to you. That's culture. That's foundation building. That's what an AFL club needs. Now let's talk about the crowds, because this is where the story gets even bigger. In Hobart, more than 10,000 people packed into North Hobart Oval. In Launceston, more than 5,000 turned up to UTS Stadium, again with capacity capped. And here's the point that needs to be said clearly. If Tasmania is filling VFL grounds, both of them operating under limited capacity, then imagine what happens when this state has its AFL team in 2028. If you can pack out suburban venues for a second-tier competition, if you can turn restricted capacity stadiums into statewide events, if you can generate this kind of noise, colour and identity before the AFL side even exists, then picture the scale when Tasmania is playing on the national stage, in a purpose-built stadium, with the whole country watching. This isn't theory anymore. The evidence is right in front of us. Tasmania doesn't just support football, Tasmania shows up. And if this is what showing up looks like in the VFL, the AFL version is going to be seismic. And then there was the banner, the one that went viral. Undefeated, we're off to a flyer. Please don't listen to Eddie McGuire. That's Tasmanian humour. That's Tasmanian edge. That's Tasmanian saying, "We hear the noise, we're not buying it." Let's talk about the critics, respectfully but directly. All week we've heard the same old lines. Tassie's too small. The stadium's too expensive. Maybe delay their entry. Will they be competitive? Some of those comments have come from big mainland voices, including Eddie McGuire, who've questioned the timing, the infrastructure, or the viability of Tasmania's AFL entry. Here's the thing. Debate is fine. Scrutiny is fine. But the scoreboard is starting to answer the questions. 2 wins from 2 games. Crowds that rival or exceed some AFL clubs' VFL affiliates. A membership base that surged toward 20,000 almost instantly. So, to the doubters, you're entitled to your view, but the evidence is stacking up against you. Tasmania isn't waiting for permission. Tasmania is proving it. On the field, in the stands, and across the state. Now zoom out. Because this isn't just about 2 VFL wins. This is about the long-term build to 2028. Brendon Gale has been crystal clear. Tasmania is entering the AFL against clubs with a century of accumulated advantage. If we come in trying to catch up, we'll be catching up forever. The goal is to come in and compete from day 1. That's why this VFL program matters. On-field, building a game style, a culture, and a list that can transition to the AFL. Off-field, building a membership base, commercial strength, and high-performance systems. Statewide, uniting North and South, men's and women's programs, grassroots, and elite pathways. Gale talks about the opportunity to build something from scratch, a blank canvas with the right people, in a state that has produced some of the greatest players in the history of the game. This isn't just football. This is economic, social, and cultural infrastructure. And every time the Devils run out, they're rehearsing for the moment Tasmania steps onto the AFL stage. Now let's talk about what kind of football team the Devils are becoming. Because after 2 rounds, the identity is already taking shape. This is a side built on resilience under pressure. Both games have followed a similar pattern. The opposition wins more of the ball, but the Devils win the moments. Efficiency going forward. When Tasmania goes inside 50, they look dangerous. They don't waste entries. They don't rely on one forward. They share the load. Spread of contributors. Menzie, Hagan, Dixon, Siggins, Payne, Williams. Every week someone new steps up. That's the hallmark of a system, not a one-man show. A physical Tasmanian edge. There's a hardness around the contest that feels very Tasmania. It's honest footy, it's blue-collar footy, it's footy that travels, a club-first mentality. You can see it in the way they defend, the way they celebrate goals, the way they respond to momentum swings. This is a group that's buying into something bigger than themselves. And that's exactly what you want in year 0 of a long-term build. Now let's look ahead to the next challenge. Frankston. This is a danger game, the kind of match where a new club can get ambushed if they start believing their own headlines, but it's also a massive opportunity. Here's what to watch for. Can the Devils maintain their scoring efficiency? Even if they lose the disposal count again, can they keep turning entries into goals? How does Jye Menzie handle the attention? After a 4-goal match-winning performance, Frankston will plan for him. That's good. Great players want the heat. Jed Hagan's rise. 2 weeks in a row he's delivered in big moments. Does he continue to build that give-it-to-me aura? The midfield battle. Frankston are scrappy, physical, and love a stoppage-heavy game. This will be a test of the Devils' ability to absorb pressure and rebound with purpose. Crowd energy. The more Tasmania wins, the more the crowds grow. And for our Victorian-based army making the trip to Frankston, the terraces are only going to get louder. Frankston will come in hungry. Tasmania will come in confident. This is the kind of game that tells you what a team is made of. So where does this leave us? 2 rounds in, and we've already learned more than most expansion clubs learn in a year. Tasmania can fill grounds, even with restricted capacity. The Devils can win tight games against established VFL clubs. The culture language from Weberly and Gale is aligned and authentic. The state is united behind this team in a way that's impossible to manufacture. To Devils fans, keep turning up, keep wearing the colours, keep bringing your mates, keep making noise. Every ticket, every scarf, every kid in a green jumper is another piece of evidence that Tasmania is ready. Not in theory, but in reality. To the critics, you're welcome to keep talking. Tasmania will keep playing, and the scoreboard will keep doing the heavy lifting. To Brendon Gale, Jerome Weberly, the players, staff, and volunteers, you're building something that's going to outlast all of us. A club, a pathway, a statewide identity, a future AFL powerhouse. So Devils fans, here's your mission before the Frankston game. Get your tickets early. Bring someone who hasn't been yet. Flood the ground in green and red. And when the boys need a lift late, make the kind of noise only Tasmania can make. Because every time the Devils run out, they're not just playing for 4 points. They're playing for a state. They're playing for a future AFL club. They're playing for every Tasmanian kid who wants to dream in their own colours. 2 wins down, a long road ahead. But one thing is already undeniable. Tasmania belongs. I'm Ryan, your Metacoop sports host, and this has been your full Tasmania Devils VFL game review and next game preview. See you at the footy. I'm Ryan, your Metacoop sports host, and this has been your full Tasmania Devils VFL game review and next game preview. See you at the footy.